運が悪かったんだよ、お前らは。
One of the things that I hear naysayers say about this game as a quote-unquote replacement for the original PS2 game is they say the lighting isn't as good compared to the lighting in the PS2 game, which is one of the weirder criticisms I find. Judge for yourself, I guess, as we get to this incredibly dramatic scene.
堂島組長、
桐生組長が弓を無理やりだから撃っちまったんだ。カッとなっちまって何発も何発も。
弓おい、しっかりしろ。
やっちまった。東商会の大幹部を。
錦、弓を連れて逃げろ。
何言ってんだ。おめえこそ弓連れて逃げろ。
お前がいなくなったら妹はどうなるんだ。次の手術が最後なんだろう。そんな時お前がいねえで誰がいてやるんだ。だからお前はここにいちゃいけねえんだ。
でもお前は。
行け、錦。弓を頼む。
桐生は
行け。
Nishiki's voice actor is knocking it out of the park. I actually don't know. Like I mentioned, the cutscenes definitely look like they just took the original rigging from the PS2 game and just retextured it. I don't know if they got the voice actors to come in and redo their voice acting for the game. And we'll never know, because we can't even compare the original release, because we didn't get the original voice acting, we got an English dub. So it's hard for me to compare the voice acting in this remake compared to the original game. I would have to go really far out of my way to find footage of it. But it would not surprise me if they did go out of their way to get the voice actors to redub the entire script, especially considering they added all these new scenes. So if they did that, I would be like, that's really cool that they did that. But even if they didn't do that, and they just reused the same audio from the original game, that's almost more impressive that they got these voice actors to come back and do new dialogue in new added scenes that match up seamlessly with the performance that they gave for a game that came out like 10 years ago at the time this was released. Nishiki in particular.
俺の持ち物の中に指輪があります。そいつを若頭の風間に渡してくれませんか。申し訳ありませんでしたって伝えてください。
虫が良すぎねえか、そりゃ。
Nishiki's voice actor in particular, I'm very impressed by. He had some really powerful, dramatic scenes in Yakuza 0, and he really brought the heat for Yakuza Kiwami as well, for a lot of his additional scenes. But if the voice acting for the scenes that were in the original game is representative of the audio in the original PS2 game in Japan, I'm almost even more impressed. I really like Nishiki's voice actor in this game. His performance is killer.
俺は破門でいいのか、俊二。
はい。
自分の親殺したんだ。絶縁なんじゃねえのか。
東上会三代目世良会長が破門にすると決めたそうです。
どういうことだ。
自分にも分かりません。ただ風間のおやっさんがこの破門状を兄貴に渡すようにと。
堂島組はどうなるんだ。
風間のおやっさんが引き継ぐそうです。
そうか。
時間だ。兄貴、ユミさんが行方不明なんです。事件の次の日からユミさん記憶をなくしてたんです。錦のおじきや兄貴のことも。で急に病院から姿を。すいません、風間のおやさんには口止めされてたんですけど。おい、時間だ。
誰かちゃんと探してるのか。
はい、錦のおじきや風間のおやさんが。聞こえんのか。
シンジ、弓を頼むぞ。錦にもそう伝えてくれ。
はい、わかりました。
So if you don't know anything about the Yakuza, which is understandable, they are called the Japanese Mafia, which isn't a bad comparison, right? If you looked at them framed from the context of knowing about how the Italian Mafia, or the American Italian Mafia, or even the American Polish Mafia, if you know how the Mafia works, it is pretty similar. There are certain cultural differences in how the Yakuza operate comparatively. One of the main things you'll hear about the Yakuza compared to the actual Mafia is that the Yakuza operate very openly in Japan. They have like buildings that are like registered as Yakuza offices, and members of the Yakuza wear pins like real businessmen showing what organization they belong to. You saw that on Kiryu's lapel on his suit in the scenes leading up to this. And they have business cards. Yakuza business cards saying, I am a member of the Yakuza, I work for this family. The thing, of course, is, like the Mafia, they have a very, once you're in the life, you can never leave the life mentality. Like most organized crime organizations, I guess. But the thing with the Yakuza in comparison to, say, the Mafia is members of the Mafia who want to get out of the Mafia do have avenues they can take. Even putting aside witness protection, which is always an option if someone wants to go state's witness. Even if you don't want to go state's witness, there are ways that you can get out of the Mafia without having to be killed. And you can kind of disappear and try and live a normal life. You're never really going to be safe, because once you're out of the Mafia, you're always going to be a threat, either giving information to the state or to other families, giving them organizational information that would be... Shit, I can't keep track of these. That would be disadvantageous to current operations, but you can get out and live a normal life if you tried hard enough. For the Yakuza, that's not really possible, because one of the main things about joining the Mafia... Okay. I'll try and continue after this. So this is a new scene that was added for Kiwami. This was not in the original game.
これから組立ち上げさせて堂島組に貢献してもらおうって時に何勘違いしたか知らねえが組引っかき回しやがって
組の方は風間の頭がまとめてくれてるからなんとかなりそうだが、頭の頭でどうけじめつける気だ。なんと言っても桐生は頭のお気に入りだったんだからな。
頭のお気に入りといえば錦山はどうしてるんですか？
さあ見てねえが奴がどうかしたか。
いやせめて捕まったのがあいつだったら話もこんなにこじれねえで済んだのにって思いまして。
ちげえね。今からでも茶か持たせて出頭させるか。
だから現行犯だっつってんだろうがボケ。
クソの役にも立たねえな。あいつ何のために組にいるんだ。
So again, this is an added scene that I do like because it does inform aspects of Nishiki's story that weren't present in the original game, but they aren't disruptive to the story of the original game. Some things that were added are disruptive to the story of the original game, and we'll get to those, but I like these scenes.
錦山くん助けてあげられなかったの？何もできなかったの？
どういう意味だ。俺が役立たずだって言いてえのか。
そんな
お前までそんなこと言うのか。
Someone's got a complex. I don't want to take away from the emotion of this scene or anything, but there's a lot of slapping women in this series. I almost want to start a counter because you will not believe how many women get slapped in these games. It actually gets to the point where it's pretty comical. That wasn't comical, but once you look back with the full context of how many women get slapped in these games, it is kind of funny after a while, because it's just so excessive. So as you can see from that title screen, we've skipped forward 10 years. It's 2005, the glorious future of 2005 with our flip phones. It's a whole new world compared to 1995. Our hair's grown back and everything. So one of the reasons it's difficult, if not impossible, for members of the Yakuza to leave the Yakuza, even if they just wanted to get out of the family and not go State's Witness, which isn't even really an option in Japan, is because part of becoming a Yakuza is you get full body tattoos. And they're like really fucked up tattoos that are like, they just literally like superheat a needle and just stab you with it. It's not like you go to the tattoo parlor and get a tattoo done. It is like some kind of weird, trippy, fucked up, like stabbing the ink directly into your body. And I know there was a funny glitch with this game when it came out on day one where these guys would not bow as part of the cutscene. They fixed it, but imagine this scene and no one's bowing. Part of the point of... I don't know if they do it nowadays, because the modern day Yakuza has gotten really fucked up, but part of the reason you were supposed to get tattoos as part of the Yakuza is as like to show you can take pain kind of thing. Because the way they did the tattoo was very extremely excessively painful. So it was almost like an initiation ritual. And also, the longer you're in the Yakuza, the more elaborate and expansive and full body your tattoos become. So you can tell someone's been in the Yakuza for a long time if they got tattoos all the way down to the wrist, for example. Feast your eyes on Chairman Sarah while we have him.
どういう了見だ
Uh, so, our boy here, you can tell he's had a lot of character development because he slicked his hair back.
三代目に伺います。
10 years does a lot to a
東都
man.
銀行の貸金庫にあった組の金100億盗まれたってのは本当ですか？
おい、今のが下手な作り話やったら縁故やすまん話やで。
That's another thing, is if you fuck up in the Yakuza, you have to, like, make up for it by cutting off a finger, usually your
5
pinky.
代目近江連合の寺田です。この件はしっかり裏取って話すつもりだった。
ほんなら100億は。
ああ、
ふざけんな。登場会2万5千死に物狂いでかき集めた金や。100億言うたらどんだけの血流れてるか分かっとんのかよおら。
島野、てめえ誰に向かって口聞いてんだ。
この件は登場会本部預かりにさせてもらう。
Man, there's like too much to talk about. Shimano here, his original voice actor, not original voice actor, but when they dubbed the game in English for the PS2 release, they got Michael Madsen to voice Shimano, and for his character, the heavy swearing of the dub was actually really appropriate, because he'd say funny shit like, hey, shut the fuck up, in his Michael Madsen voice, and it was actually both funny and actually worked for his character a lot. Look at that skybox. What the fuck is going on with the interlacing on that?
10年。お前のいない10年で。
So, one of the reasons it's pretty much impossible... So, two of the reasons it's pretty much impossible to get out of the Yakuza and live a normal life is, well, you're going around with 8 or 9 fingers and with full body tattoos. And there is a huge stigma against having those big full body tattoos because, well, that means you're in the Yakuza. You got a big ass Yakuza tattoo.
話は通しておく。風間慎太郎。
Oh, Kiryu, a man 10 years out of time. How are you gonna deal with all that's changed? So, I mean, like, laser surgery removal for tattoos is one thing, but that's a lot of tattoo that you gotta get rid of, even if that's an option. And you gotta do some pretty intensive surgery to replace a missing finger. So, getting out of the life and living as a normal civilian once again is just, frankly, not a feasible option for 90% of anyone who might be in that situation. Even if they wanted to get out, it's just not something that's tenable for them. So now that we actually have gameplay back, as you can see, man, I can't even imagine the nightmare of localizing these symbols to change from kanji to English once you mouse over it like that. That's crazy. We're actually going to get a tutorial for this in a second, so I'll wait till that comes up. So aside from that, there are also other little cultural differences involved in how the Mafia operates compared to the Yakuza. However, there are still a lot of similarities. One of which being, obviously, the rule that you cannot kill a made man. If someone is in the family, they're a made member of the Mafia. If you kill them, you're just screwed. They're going to fuck you up. It's the same with the Yakuza. Only Yakuza can kill other Yakuza. And it's gotta be with, like, approval from the family. So this is added for the re-release. This is Kiwami, and this is where the downfall of Yakuza Kiwami kinda grates on me a little bit. This is where it starts to emerge. is Majima over the years has become a huge meme character and a huge breakout character for the franchise. And so they really leaned into that with this game. So they added a lot of extra story and gameplay scenes revolving around Majima. And I actually find that it detracts from the experience of the game to a really extreme, a really Kiwami degree. And this is where it all starts.
そう来るんじゃねえかと思ってましたが悪いが兄さんとここで喧嘩をする理由がない筋の通らない喧嘩はしないと前にも言ったはずです理由ならある何
In the original game, Majima had that scene at the beginning where he beat the shit out of that guy with an umbrella. And then you do not see him again for like a long time. Majima was not originally written with such a massive importance. He was a very minor side character that you only had 3 real encounters with. But because of his later fame that was achieved in the future of the series, they retroactively added all of these scenes and made him just a massive part of the gameplay, and they added all these extra interactions, and I do feel, and we will see as we go, that it detracts from the story and from Majima's place in that story. And right now it doesn't actually seem that bad, but you'll see what I mean. And this is the start of it, because at the beginning of the game you start out with the Dragon of Dojima style, but then what's supposed to happen is after 10 years you're supposed to like be bottomed out and not have anything anymore. Like 10 years in the slammer has degraded your Dragon of Dojima abilities. And this is supposed to be the scene that shows, like, you've gone soft, Kiryu, so I'm gonna have to, like, toughen you back up. But because it's a New Game Plus, we're not gonna have to deal with that problem. Ah, shit. We, like, barely took any damage. Excuse me, I'm gonna cheat by using your own knife against you, Majima. Hope you don't mind. Just a cat. Hey man, you shouldn't have said I'm a fool who's gone soft. You really have no one to blame but yourself for this. Yeah, so we're gonna cheese this fight a little bit here. I don't like that you're like so slow unless you have a filled up heat bar. But anyway, I'll talk more about the gameplay as we go. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about at the beginning here. Stop stabbing me with your knife. Oh, my heat. Yeah, part of the reason definitely comes down to, I don't necessarily find Majima to be a great boss. throughout the series. Occasionally it's fine, but it's not a great fight to have to do repeatedly. Imagine fighting. I mean, like, this is fair enough. Supposed to lose fight. You're not really supposed to be able to stand a chance at the very beginning of the game here, but fuck's sake. It's still a bit much as far as I'm concerned. He's just so fast. There we go. Kiwami! Yeah, the fact that this is a New Game Plus does mean we're missing a little bit of tutorialization. Don't worry, I'll cover it myself.